welcome everybody to our Tuesday night live show. We are here, fashionably late again. That's just our theme this week. Yesterday was Sean's fault. We are here with apprentice Madison Olver from Aqueduct. Hi, we are so excited to have you. Glad that we got the technical difficulties worked out.
Me too. It was looking tough there for a second.
Sean was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna get her on there." And Sean's awesome. So, let's just start off by telling us a little bit about how you ended up in the saddle.
Yeah. So I have been riding since I was. My mom put me on my first horse when I was 14 months old. I don't even know if a child can walk at that point. And I just kind of stuck with horses to some extent, just kind of casual riding for my whole life. And then when I was 18, after I graduated high school, I didn't want to go to college right away. So I moved to France and learned how to ride racehorses there because I had an opportunity to do that somehow, just through some kind people and some connections. And I just fell in love with it. And then, I ended up back in the States, and the rest is kind of history.
Wow. So France. So you got to get both aspects of U.S. racing and across the, overseas racing. What would you say differs the most other than the direction?
Yeah, the direction definitely. The method of training is very different. Like when we gallop in the mornings, it's usually a slower pace and you're one behind the other, like very much right behind the other. You don't time workouts. That was a whole thing that I had to learn when I came to the States, was kind of to have a clock in my head. I had no idea what any of that meant. There's no outriders.
Wow.
In France. There's not really any fences either for the training tracks. It's just they're just kind of in the middle of the woods. And if you fall off, you're the one chasing your own horse.
Okay.
And sometimes they get lost for a long time in the woods because it's a big, big place. And there's a lot of help out here. Those outriders help a lot. And there's people to catch your horse and sirens to let you know when there's a loose one. And so
that doesn't exist over there. So basically we have it made, right? The horsemen have no idea how much help they really have.
Yeah. And getting ponied to the races too, over there, you just kind of, you warm up without the pony, you just take off and hang on and hope you can pull up.
So was there ever a moment in your mind where you thought that you would ride races over there?
Yeah, I was actually in the process of getting my license when I was over there. I was going to college over there too at the time. And then COVID happened and unfortunately created a lot of visa difficulty for me. And they wouldn't renew it for me. And there was kind of no other options for me other than to return to the States. And, obviously COVID was at that time, it was very new and very scary. And it also seemed like the best thing to do is probably just to go home and kind of reassess. So I went back to Colorado, which is where I'm from. And I graduated college there. I finished my last year and a half there, which, is good. It's good.
Yeah.
A blessing in disguise to get that done. And I didn't know if I would go back to the racehorses afterwards. I didn't really have a plan. I figured that had kind of set my path, with COVID happening. I was like, okay, this isn't meant to be, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So had to come back.
Had the itch, and it never goes away. I promise.
It never goes away. It really doesn't.
Well, that's pretty incredible that you were able to get a degree.
Yes.
And do those things because, unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't grow up in the racetrack and they don't even know that there is another life, So it's always important to have something to fall back on. So I love that for you. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. So that's pretty incredible. So, Sean, I know you're itching over there to ask her about her wins. Go ahead.
Well, we won't get there quite yet. You've also worked for some top-notch trainers, so talk about that and what you've done for them.
Yeah, I got to work for Christophe Clement, which was amazing. Obviously, I got to ride some really cool horses. I learned a lot from them because they knew what I wanted to do, and they were pretty much like, okay, like this is how you're gonna have to get there. Here's what you're gonna have to learn. Here's what you're gonna have to get better on, and just being willing to put these really nice horses in my hands, and giving me that opportunity to learn is huge. There's no better way to learn than on a horse.
Absolutely.
I had the opportunity this summer in Saratoga to freelance for some other trainers. One of them was Kenny McPeak, and they let me ride Crazy Beautiful all summer, which was really great. That was really special for me. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those turf horses we had at Clements, I mean, you get them out in the grass and it's such a cool feeling. There's the power you have underneath you is crazy.
So you said you grew up on a horse, basically. Did you do any, were you showing? What was your thing?
I would say I did a little bit of everything. I taught riding lessons to young kids, mostly young girls, as a way to kind of make money. I think I started doing that when I was 15. I did some like casual like jumpers kind of things. In Colorado and a lot of areas out there, you can get a Mustang for like a Mustang that's been rounded up for pretty cheap, like $100 something bucks. And so I would break them and then sell them and make money that way. There was a woman in Colorado who her name is Kayla Stone. She taught me a lot, and I used to actually be, when I was a kid, when I was like 10, 11, 12, I was a very fearful rider, and she played a huge part in getting me over that, which obviously was necessary. So I had a lot of people that, even though I didn't know I wanted to be a jockey then, they helped me towards that.
Get over your fears. So Colorado, were you near Arapahoe?
I was not. I was I would say probably about 2 hours near Arapahoe. I actually never went.
Oh, okay.
There were a lot of off the track thoroughbreds that came from that area that I worked with, and especially like after I got back from France and had spent that year, or finishing my degree, but I still never, because it's only like a summer sort of meet, and it's kind of during a fair. So no, I never went over to Arapahoe.
So how did we end up in New York? I mean, what a great place to start your club. I mean,
it's tough.
You're amongst some of the best riders, and like you said about being with the trainers and what you took from them, I'm sure you are taking things away from some of your peers in the room. Is there anybody in there that you ride with now that inspires you, or maybe gives you a little bit of look into your future and what you see yourself, what you want to be as a rider?
All of them, to be honest. All of them have some unique skill and quality out there that you honestly don't even notice till you're out there riding with them and you see it. But they're all great, and they're all really willing and happy to help a young rider learn, it's really great. It's a really good colony of jockeys. I ended up in New York just because of Clement, and they, I was kind of like, well, why don't I go somewhere smaller and start there and just kind of see what's going on and get some experience? And they were like, no, start here.
Man, what a great leg up. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I know some people for Clement, and I've only heard great things about that outfit and being a part of it. So
very good people, very good horsemen.
Well, Grandma Horse Racing chimes in and she says, I feel like I was lazy at 23 now.
Jamie and I say the same thing all the time when we interview young.
I was dancing on bars, drinking. Grandma.
Yes, I mean, that sounds fun.
No, but that's so awesome. I'm truly impressed. I mean, you just seem super well-rounded for your age to have traveled, to have finished school. I mean, wow, that's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, how did you get all of that done so quickly?
No. I didn't sleep for a long time. I would work horses in the morning, and in France you have to do afternoon because you do everything. You do the feeding, you do the veterinary, the basic veterinary care, the you do the grooming, you do everything. You are the hot walker, you are the groom, you are the rider, you are everything. So you don't get on as many in the mornings, but we would work in the afternoons too, like 3 days a week. And you do get a day off, but what I did is I would ride horses in the morning, go to school in the afternoons, and then I would just make sure I only had morning classes. I would organize it so I only had morning classes 3 days a week. Or I'm sorry, what did I do? How did I work that out? So there was 1 day a week where I got done early. I was able to come back in the afternoon, and then the day that I had off, I was able to just do morning classes and do the afternoon.
Wow.
Another thing we talk about on here is getting the jockey license. People think you just walk up to a window and they hand out jockey licenses, and I know that's not true. And yours was even a little bit more complicated from what I understand, right? Because you were supposed to ride at Finger Lakes, and then there was a whole... Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I was supposed to ride at Finger Lakes. I had some mounts there to kind of just help me get like an initial experience too. So I wasn't, riding, like making a debut with the Ortiz brothers on my right, Rosario and Pratt on my left, like.
I think I'd be more starstruck going down the lane. Like,
like what's going on? But so essentially there was a mix up with the stewards and the stuff that I was so I had all this. Originally what they told me was that I had everything, I was set. I had gotten approved from everyone in Saratoga and in New York, and I was all set. And then there was actually a miscommunication between some of the stewards, and that wasn't the case. So then we tried to revise, and I was going to come down and get my gate card down there. And then there were complications with going down there and organizing it that way. And so there was like 2 separate weeks where I had entries and didn't actually get to ride. And then my first horse out here at Aqueduct got scratched the day of the race I was supposed to make my debut. So I got really accustomed to the roller coaster that is this industry right away.
So what about your nerves?
Ebbs and flows.
Yes.
What about your nerves? You think you're going to ride those days, and then you're not riding at all.
Oh yeah, no, it was super frustrating. I was at one point, I was like, I can't do the nerves and then the letdown one more time. I was like,
the adrenaline. You're like, I'm ready, and then you're like, I'm not.
I'm ready, and then I have to do it again, and your body's just like, what is the matter with you? Yeah.
So now let's get to that first win. And before that first win, I want to say it was the race right before. If it wasn't, it was the 2 races before. I thought you were going to get to the wire too. You almost got there.
Yeah, that was the race before. I thought I was going to get there too. I really did. So that was another roller coaster.
So talk about that a little bit. And now you had the experience of thinking you might win the race, and you didn't win the race. So then that wire really had to be long that second time when you finally did get there.
Next time, I mean, I was listening. I had all my ears were open the whole time to hear if there was going to be that horse that comes and catches me again. I was waiting for that. But I didn't hear anyone that time.
We have a comment in from Sean. Maddie has such a bright future. Love to see her getting better by the day.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. I'm trying.
And then we have another one here from Dominic Fama. Come to Laurel. We need some new bugs. Barbos is about to lose
Yeah,
it.
no kidding. I've thought of that.
Maryland is for bugs.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
So you said you thought about that. So are you looking to travel? Are you looking to just see where opportunity takes you, or are you kind of?
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I've always been open to everything, and I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time where everything gets a little too overwhelming. But right now I'm having. I mean, the people are giving me opportunities here, and the great people and good horses, and so. But yeah, I've always been willing to travel and go to other places.
I think that if you have the stage and ability to be where you are right now, I think that's huge for you.
Yeah.
But if opportunity presents itself, it's great. Yeah. You'd ship out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So is that treatment after the first win exactly how you expected it?
Yeah. I didn't feel it was cold that day. I think it was like a solid 36 degrees or something like that. But I couldn't feel the cold water. I didn't care.
That's funny.
I didn't feel anything. There were no eggs. I heard there might be eggs. But there were no eggs. There was just like some powder, some mouthwash for some reason. I got back to the room and my face was like tingling, and I was like, why is it tingling? And it was because there was mouthwash in some of the water buckets. I don't know.
Could have been absorbing, maybe.
Could have been absorbing. Yeah, I mean, probably better than an egg, to be honest.
We got Grandma Horse Racing. What is your most ambitious riding goal?
My most ambitious riding goal. I try not to get too ahead of myself. I try to, take it one win at a time. Originally it was like, okay, let me just ride. Now it's like, okay, let me just get a win. And now it's like, let me get 5. I would love to ride in one of those big races that they have. I would love to ride at Saratoga, actually. I would say that's a pretty ambitious goal. Saratoga is a special place.
What a fun meet.
Yeah, God, I know. And it's just top tier. So that I would say that's pretty ambitious.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up there this year, little lady.
Well, you talked about it a little bit with the Ortiz brothers, Pratt, Rosario. Were you starstruck at first when you started meeting them?
So to be honest, I had breezed a lot with them, like a very substantial amount. And I would always ask them for tips and advice, as probably very annoying, to be honest. And I would go into the jocks room in Saratoga, and they would help me out, like Joelle and anyone that was there would just, like, if they had time, if they weren't riding back to back to back, they would come help me out on the Equicizer. And then, starstruck, yes, definitely. But, they're just very kind. And like when I got here to Aqueduct, I didn't have very much stuff. I didn't have a saddle that was light enough. I didn't really have any pants for some reason. I broke my pants.
Left them in France.
I did something weird with them. I'm not organized. And Joelle let me borrow like his saddle, all sorts of stuff. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of people, we as horsemen, we're handing things down. I actually just brought a pair of boots to the track this morning for a girl who needed a pair of boots. I feel we all kind of help each other. Hey, you got an extra vest? You got,
Exactly.
So it's great.
It's hard enough out here.
Yes.
Help each other out. Yeah.
I love hearing though that the big guys are doing the right thing and being supportive, and that you're being welcomed. It sounds like you're in a great colony and everybody's welcoming and helpful, and I love that for you. I love that, especially being a female, because it's tough. You're definitely in a male-dominated industry, and then on one of the big stages too with some of the better guys. So That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, they've all been great. Johnny V too. He had like a ton of all these winter pants that he wasn't using, so he gave me them. He thought my helmet was unsafe because it was like sitting on my head weird, and he got me a new one.
Wow.
But yeah,
well, whatever Johnny V says goes. Okay, so if he says your helmet was subpar, then
I was like, whatever you say, you're correct. Yeah. So no, they're all great. They really are.
That's amazing. I'd love to hear that.
So since you share the Jocks room with the females, is there any female that you really like follow around and take a lot of notes from?
I mean, both Jackie and Katie Davis, who I mean, they're the only other two in there, are just awesome. I mean, honestly, we have a great time. They're super. They watch too. They watch everything. They pay attention, and they're like, they tell me what I need to work on, and they tell me when I'm doing something good. They're super supportive of everything. I mean, they're so lovely. I'm so grateful to them too. It's nice to have other women around that are just really badass.
Yeah.
Kicking ass, and that are so willing to help me too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're great, and we have fun, and yeah, the Girls Jackson's a good place. I like it there.
Yeah, it's no surprise. Katie's always been a good friend. Katie's actually on next Tuesday to tell you the truth
good.
too. So, yeah, she's been on before with Trevor. Her and Trevor were one of the first ones that always were willing to help. So it doesn't surprise me. You know, that family right there, they're willing to help anybody.
Yeah, they are.
Eli Hess says you're a badass yourself. I agree. I totally agree.
Thanks. Just trying to be like the Davis sisters. Try to emulate them. That's it.
So, what would you say to a little girl, you know, who loves the horses and says, "I want to be like you when I grow up"?
Very sure.
No, you don't.
I would want her to not see it as like the be all end all. I would want her to know everything that the industry has to offer, because for some people riding is not the where the love comes from. It comes from the breeding, the watching the horses run, the training, the you know, being an announcer on TV, being a host, there's just so many levels to this industry, and there's so many things you can do. I wouldn't want her to just I would want her to make sure that she has her eyes open to all the other opportunities, just in case that maybe riding isn't what, ends up being the thing that creates that drive, that love, and that passion for you.
Right.
And if later on, if she's like me and she can't stop thinking about it, and she has, she's like, wow, I have no control over this. I love it too much. Then I would say what do you got to lose?
Right. Go for it.
Yeah.
We touched on that a little bit last night in our interview of just bringing light how many positions or how many things and opportunities there are for youth and the young people coming up that unless you're from the track, you might not know about it. Like you were saying, just all the positions from the racing office to the barn area. There's a lot to get involved in, and I think that has to be pushed out more. So I love that.
I agree.
Yeah.
So many things, and the industry is always, I guess any industry, but especially us, this industry is always needing good people that are passionate about what they do in every piece of this industry that exists.
Yeah, and I think all those little back jobs, not little jobs, but all those back jobs aside from the jockey and the trainer, if you're not familiar with the track, people don't know. You know, so I think speaking on it is great. I think bringing it up and saying, hey, there's so many opportunities for people if you love horses to get involved, and
so many. It
doesn't always have to be on a horse's back. So I love that.
And maybe not being on a horse's back is safer too. Like for me, I love the adrenaline, but if some people they don't want to take that risk, which is completely understandable. There's a lot of ways to really enjoy the horses.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely. Eli comes in with a question. Do you ever get scared? And if so, how do you calm your nerves?
I don't get scared of... I get scared that I'm going to mess up a race, that I'm going to make a bad move or do something dumb or something like that. So no, I wouldn't say I necessarily get scared of the horses. But if I do get nervous, or if maybe there is a horse that's testing my abilities, or I'm worried I'm gonna mess something up or whatever, I try to just, because sometimes you can't do much more than just tell yourself to take 3 deep breaths, and you try again. You're just like, I'll just take 3, and then I'll see how I feel. And then usually you take 3 and you've forgotten about it by that point, or it's over. Like the thing you were worried about happening, like that one step that you were worried about messing up, it's over at that point.
Love that. And then you've got Sean Nolan, fabulous ride on and move and on Afjon the other day. Almost got there.
Thank you. Yeah, he did. He ran good. That horse ran real good. Yeah, I wish we could have gotten there. I think that winner was gonna win. To be honest, he kind of came from way back and then just went right forward. But yeah, thank you very much. He's a good horse. I like that horse. Morley has been very kind to me, giving me some good horses.
Do you prefer speed or distance?
That's a good question. Depends on what I'm on. If it's a speed horse, I like speed. I tend to like a little bit more distance, just because I am learning, and because that gives me a little bit more of an opportunity to make decisions with a little bit of thought rather than just having to react.
Right.
Which can be hard when don't have those muscle memory tendencies yet.
I love that.
Yeah.
So right here, router, sit back and take your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually think that's interesting, because usually as an apprentice, it seems like apprentices do better when they are out front, when you have the weight break. But like you said, you learn a little bit more from the back. You probably become a better rider in the long run doing it from the back. But do you feel like horses do better with the speed since they have the weight break?
No. I think it really depends on what you ask from them. And a lot of it just depends on the horse, too.
Preach. I agree. I so agree with what you just said. I feel like and I might get attacked, but I feel like the weight thing is not the holy be all grail. It's not. Horses in a 5-pound difference. No, you can't convince me.
That's like, 10 pounds is what? It's like 1% of their body weight.
Yeah, like you can't convince me. No, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, it can, have an effect to certain horses, and it can help carry them and get them over, it helps make up for those differences and mistakes. But like for speed, not necessarily. Like Fenway, the horse that I went on the other day, I think if he he was going to break that well, because that's the horse he is, regardless of whether or not I think he had 20 pounds more on his back.
Yeah. I think, I've seen the weight come into play when, maybe they're down and they're battling, and, maybe those extra couple pounds off will help. Mm-hmm. But I really think that it's who's on their back, it's kind of all in the hands.
As a veteran, what I see a lot of times, if the leader's loose and it has an apprentice with the little weight break, it tends to get away more than it does come back like it normally does. But maybe that's just in my experience.
I think, but I also and I think that's true for certain horses. I just think it kind of depends on what horse you're sitting on. Because if there's a horse that it just doesn't got that speed to get up front, and you got 3 other horses that have wicked speed, you're not suddenly going to have wicked speed like they do. You might break better than normal, but you're not necessarily going to have wicked speed just with that extra 10, just because maybe that's not the horse. But you might still be, instead of being 6, you might end up being 4. But it's not going to be the difference between, unless you warm them up sharp and send them and you got everything that you need. There's also that too that comes into play, how you warm them up, how the horse is in the gate, how long they've been in the gate for. A lot of that can come into play too.
Is the gate as scary as it looks?
Oh, the gate's awesome.
Every jockey says that, but I guess you need to be like that to be in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why. My first race, I think I was like, holy shit. It's going to open on us.
Hi on riders.
Yeah.
That's a rush, right?
But the gate crew is so great here. You feel really safe, and
you guys have some really good crew up there. Yeah.
Really good crew. Yeah. Really good crew. And so
regardless, anywhere, all those gate guys, near and far, they have the toughest job.
I don't know how they do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're like the holy grail of racing.
Yeah. They are the best. I don't know how they do it.
Do you like going in first and getting settled, or do you like going in last and going right out?
Depends on what I'm riding. It depends. It really depends. I kind of like going in towards the end. I get to kind of see how the other horses are behaving in the gates, and then you get in there and you don't have time to think about anything. You just go. That usually helps too for a sharp gate break too. Just getting in and going.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What are we looking like for this year? Do we have plans? Are we riding the wave and just, like you said, taking it one day at a time? Hanging out in New York for the Saratoga train? Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. I mean, that would be so amazing. But right now I'm just kind of seeing where this all takes me. Like I said, I've got a lot of support, and people are being very, very kind, and want to see me do well, want to see me learn, which is just great. And I love the horses really above all. And so, if I get to keep doing that here, because I also love New York, like just as general as a place, I think it's a really cool place. So yeah, I guess I'm just taking it. I'm still just taking it a day at a time, kind of see what happens.
So if horse racing wasn't there, you got your degree. What did you major in?
I got my degree in sociology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the backup plan then if it wasn't racing?
I wanted to go to law school.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. I had taken the LSAT and done all of that, and I was very adamant about it. I mean, you could ask my mom. I had talked to so many different. I did the law school club my last year of college, and I was pretty adamant about it. I was like, oh, this is smart. This is what I got to do, and I just could not get away.
Well, that's impressive. That's impressive, and none the least. I mean, like I said, I think pushing that out to the youth too, as a young female, to say, hey, I went to school and I finished first before I came here. I mean, not everybody gets the same opportunity, and that's fine. But if they have, I think hearing that come from a young rider is very important. I did finish school, and
it was an important thing for me to do, and I would recommend that young riders also do something like that, because it just
gives you some security.
It's gonna do nothing but open doors. There will be no doors that could possibly be closed to you.
Well, I just love your way of thinking. You seem super educated, and I love anybody that comes in and says, I'm a sponge, I want to learn, and that just seems like exactly what you are. So I love it. Oh, here we go. We've got Beauty, Brawn and Brains. You're the great role model. I was going to say the exact same thing. Seriously. I mean, that's amazing. You should be super proud of yourself. for 23.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And more background too. You wrote an article for us too. So do you like to write?
But I love to. Yeah, I love to. My aunt actually was a journalist, and that's a very tough thing to be nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, it's a very tough thing to be. But yeah, I do.
I think putting yourself on any public forum these days is it's hard. I mean, even for us trying to do positive things, we get it too. We get the naysayers or,
I bet. I can imagine. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Grandma Horse Racing has a question. When following a trainer's instructions, do you often have to make your own way to the finish?
I've noticed that at least here, the trainers, I do my homework too, and like we kind of make up a plan together. So I would say I get less instructions, and it's more like, unless there's something very specific they want to happen, but we work together to find what we think as a team is going to help this horse get to the finish line first. Like the trainers that I've worked with have been just very wonderful with that. So, I mean, yeah, sometimes you got to call an audible because something happens. That's just how it goes. Let
me ask this. Do you take the instructions to a T and lose the race? Or do you take a chance of the trainer being upset, doing things differently and winning? How does that play out when you go back and the guy says, you didn't do anything I asked you to do?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough too as an apprentice.
Yeah.
Because it's like if someone that, was more experienced did that, they'd be like, oh, well, they tried something that they thought would work and it didn't work. So I usually try to stay pretty close to the instructions, at least to unless something obviously happens and it's like, well, that's out the window. But I usually try to stay pretty close to the instructions just because they probably know better than I do about how that horse is going to get to the finish line first at this stage. And so, you know what? I'm going to do the best that I can to get what they want.
I love the humbleness. You're going to go far. I can see it. You're going to be a superstar. You've got the right mentality and the right barns backing you. I mean, I'm very, very, very happy for what's coming for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So my corny question every show, favorite horse racing. Stop laughing, Sean. Favorite horse racing movie.
Oh, goodness. I mean, Black Beauty.
Yay, you got it different.
Black Stallion.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because Black Beauty's not horse racing.
That's not horse racing, but I
love Black Beauty. But Black Stallion's horse racing. I think that was the original. That was the OG one that I first ever watched.
Yes.
But I do love Secretariat. Black Beauty, obviously, I love Black Beauty. Secretariat and Seabiscuit, I actually do enjoy.
But I love Black Stallion. That's the first time that we've gotten a different answer. It's always Secretariat or Seabiscuit. Sometimes I think they just say that because they just know their movies and they don't really know what the answer is.
But the Black Stallion, it was a racing, technically. Yes, it is. Even if it's not realistic, it's a good story.
Yeah, that is.
The books are good.
Yes.
So I'd imagine you like to read. Do you have any horse racing books your favorite horse racing book?
Yes, I just read one. It's called I'm not 100% sure that this is what it's called. I have to make sure, but it's called Unbroken, I believe. And it's about this this woman who raced steeplechase races in Czechoslovakia, and she was like the first woman to not only ride in but win like they call it the most dangerous horse like steeplechase race in the world. And it's about her story and just kind of how much she loves the horses, what she fought to stay as a rider, and it was, a long time ago, like it was during World War II, and it talked about how kind of horse racing has survived. Not only this woman, but horse racing had survived, this World War II and all these atrocities and just everything, like poverty, and it still has survived, and this woman still got through it. I would highly recommend it. It's very
I have to look that up. I love a good read. I love that.
Good one.
I went through like all the Jake Francis novels. when I
Yeah.
was like purging on like horse and then crime, and it gave me a little bit of both. So I'm always looking for a good read.
It's a good one. I would highly recommend it.
We've got a comment here from Matt F. You're learning from the best at the greatest venue.
Yes,
Good
same.
luck.
Thank you.
You sure are. You really are. All right. Well, I'm out of questions. Sean, you have anything else for Miss Maddie tonight?
Well, I guess the only other question I would have is, when did you know? Now you got your license, I believe, in November. When did you know for sure you were getting your license in November?
When did I know? I think I came down here because I knew I was going to ride here, and I was like, I'm just going to go down there. And I went and I talked to everybody that I needed to talk to, and I produced everything I needed to, and I asked about 50 different people, okay, is there anything else that I need to do? And then I got an entry, and I did it again, and I went and made sure again. I went back to the track, and I was like, is there anything else that I need to do just to make sure I can ride? I think I got like 4 separate physicals just in case one of them wasn't right. So I was like, I have to make sure.
That's great. So is your family in Colorado? Have they had a chance to come and watch you?
They are in Colorado. They have not had a chance to see me ride. They do watch my races on TV. Or wherever, yeah. And they're very supportive, which is great.
I love that. Hopefully they get to come to New York soon.
I hope so. That would be great. I would love that.
So my last question is, when you're not doing anything with horses, and I know that's probably a rarity, but what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Yeah, Sunday nights are fun because we can like go out to eat and eat a lot of food. I really like to take naps. Yeah, I know it's not exciting. I have a little dog. He's a little mini Australian Shepherd. And so him and I will go throw a ball or go on a walk, or do things like that. But to be honest, I don't do that many exciting things.
I think Justin, what's his last name? He interviewed you after your first win. You had to ride the next. He asked how you were going to celebrate, and you were like, "I have to ride the next day."
Oh yeah,
I remember that. Yeah. I do remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
I'm
absolutely
excited.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope to get up there and meet you.
Thank you. It was lovely to talk to you guys as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you're multi-talented, and you almost became a host. Our door is always open for whatever you want to do. Pays low, like Rich always says, but
well, pays better on your end, ma'am.
Yeah.
But you know what? We love what we're doing here, and we love to be able to bring you guys out and shine light on people who deserve it. So, your best friend messaged me on Instagram, actually. I'd have to see her name. Hold on. She said she had only good things to say about you. Just saying, oh, Maddie's my friend. I love her. Hold on. Who is it?
Hopefully it's really her best friend.
Oh, Nikki K.
Oh, I love Nikki.
Okay. Yes. She said, Maddie's my best friend. Yeah. She was really nice.
She is.
Yeah, I told her we would do something and work on getting her on the show.
Oh, you should. You would love her. You would love her. She is just, she is. She is just lovely. There's nothing but good things to say about her.
Oh, we have another question before we get off. Let's see. John De Silva, when will she start parks on the days off?
Soon. I promise. Soon.
So we always got John asking about parks. Terry might not be watching. He always says about Golden Gate. Do you ever want to go out west to Golden Gate?
I mean, I don't know when I'd have time if I'm doing parks in New York and Maryland and everything.
Well, the East Coast is definitely the best for an apprentice. You can ride everywhere.
Yeah,
you can ride 7 days a week if you want.
Yeah, exactly. If you want, exactly.
Yeah, the Mid-Atlantic is it's a melting pot of racetracks all around.
Yeah, it is. It really is. There's a lot of opportunities for everybody.
Well, if I can give you any type of tips or support just from a loving place is, can you keep doing what you're doing? Don't settle. The world is your platform, and you're you're trendsetting out there. I mean, you're a young woman out there doing something great, and you're educated, you're smart, you're well spoken, you're beautiful. You're going to be an inspiration for a lot of little girls coming up. I guarantee it. So
thank you. That means the world to me. Thank you very much for saying.
Yeah, and I'm so proud to say, you know, if you're at Aqueduct, if you can hang there with the big dogs, hang there, girl.
I'm gonna try.
All right, Miss Maddie. Well, that wraps it up for you, and we are so happy that you came on, and we look forward to having you back on in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. It was lovely to talk with you guys.
Yes, we'll speak
Thanks,
soon.
Brandon.
Okay, good luck.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. All right, let me not zoom in like I did last night. Frontal of the forehead. Oh, Terry is watching. Look, I'm watching, and she.
Well, he didn't. You know, he always asks that question. So either you didn't bring it up, or he just didn't.
No, he didn't type it in. I promise.
Yeah. So, well, you got to give her a year until she's settled and she loses the bug. Then she might go out west.
Yeah. Wow, she's incredible. I'm so thankful to be able to even just meet some of these people that, you know, we've brought on. Dana last night, Maddie today. She's just, the fact that she's gone across the seas and, you know, did things over there. She's, for her age, she's done a lot, you know. That's impressive.
Yeah. Like I said, our first interaction was she asked about submitting an article, and we were like, absolutely. And she wrote a great article. I'll have to find it and see if I can post it and then we had talks about her being a host and stuff. And then obviously she was busy at the time, but she thought it would fit in her schedule, and it didn't quite fit in her schedule, but she's doing great things, and it's awesome to see.
It is awesome to see. It is.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more people like that. I mean, I know they're out there, you know, and I'm just glad that we have the platform to bring them on and show, like, there are some really bright, shining stars at the track, on the backside, and incredible.
And
I'm actually a little speechless. I mean, the fact that you don't hear it very often, you know, growing up on the backside, you don't hear a woman that's gone to school and that has done the things before.
Well,
dream. I love
I'll
that.
talk about that too. They say about females in the sport. We just interviewed 5 young women in a row, 5 straight horse centers, or 5 young women that have great futures in the sport.
In a row.
So, and we had Sophia Vives, we had Hannah Leah, Electric Boone, Dana Soul last night, and now Madison Olver. So, I think the future of females in the sport is just growing, and in the future, they all have bright futures. And not just those 5. There's a lot of other young females in there too that we've either had on or hopefully one day will have on.
Yeah, and I love to hear that the other women in the room are supporting and empowering her, you know, and I just, that's what the world needs more of. You know, we can all give each other a leg up.
Well, even more impressive is you hear about sexism or anything else. We bring these women on and they say how supportive the guys are. So at least maybe in the room or on the track, horse racing, it's not so sexist, and it's very much a community, which is a good thing if we can only get that in other places.
Yeah, exactly. If we, you know, small steps, we're working on it. But, you know, I mean, I've seen a couple of riders I can name, Julie Crone, Rosie Napravnik, they could ride with the men, you know? So I feel like when you go to post and you break out of that gate, the sexism definitely goes away. You know, maybe I'm sure they all have a little bit of it here and there, but it seems like the support is very substantial. And I love to hear that the girls in the room and the guys up in New York are being supportive. And I think that all jockey colonies can take a little bit away from that. You know, let's rally and love each other, because listen, she's 23. You know, the old guys are going to be out, and we want to inspire and bring greatness into the game. So with that, we have to be able to teach, right, and help out.
Absolutely. And we got to more positive and make the sport last longer too, preserve the sport.
Embrace change. Yeah.
So now tomorrow we have another younger trainer, TJ Aguirre, and all I hear is positive stuff about him. Hardest working. Another one, he takes pictures all the time of him in the barn with the horses. He just loves his horses. I've heard so many stories about his love for the horses and stuff. So another young guy that's going to make great things in the sport and is good for the sport. So
yeah, I'm
we'll get to
excited
meet him
to
tomorrow.
be on kind of local. He's Mid-Atlantic, so I'm excited. And then he breaks the girl streak. We end the week with TJ. So
Had to break the streak eventually.
all right, one last comment from Grandma Horse Racing. She's done so much. I'm a little exhausted after this interview. I'm a little speechless, honestly. She impressed me. Wow.
No, I knew I didn't know all that stuff, but I knew talking to her that she had a lot going on and was very intelligent. She's done a lot at a young age. I didn't quite know she was 23, but I knew she was young. So
she just
yeah,
made a fan out of me for sure. I'm totally on the root for Maddie train now.
Now I'm programming too tomorrow. I believe it's Rich and Charles. They'll 11:30 a.m. Eastern. I believe they're doing Gulfstream tomorrow. They'll do Aqueduct Thursday. And then obviously we're back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern with TJ Acquire. We'll try not to be late tomorrow. Monday was definitely my fault. Today was just technical difficulties. And then any other
my fault just for fun, you know.
There you go. There you go. You want to bet on other sports? Pickswiththeprofessor.com, at Professor Sides on Twitter. He's got a YouTube as well where he'll tell you exactly why he's playing, and he's statistical, so everything's statistics and mathematical, and he makes money. So if you want to play his bets, check him out.
I need to get on there. Maybe I need to go get some picks with the professor.
There you go.
And Jockey Survivor is still going on. Do you want to touch on that as we go into the next day?
Yeah, not too many people got knocked out today. I don't have the official, but I would say it's less than 10 people. It was irony as I was getting Ruben Severa. First off, before you do that, let's just say when we do the jockey thing, because there was only one comment, and I think they were joking. Let's just say the Jockey Survivor is a positive thing. So don't ever bash the jockeys when they don't win a race. No. But the irony that Ruben Severa did not win a race yesterday.
I had to laugh.
57 people took him out of the 135, and he
me.
lost. And a bunch of people started rolling in Ruben Severa today, and I just started to laugh and go, "Well, they're going on. He'll win today." And and he won. Not only did he win, he won the first race, settled all down on that, and advanced a lot of people. So
I feel like if I would have picked him, he would have hit yesterday.
Yeah, and then I had a lot of people like Julie that was like, "Man, why didn't you win the first race yesterday to get that?"
I said the audacity. But it's all love. We love him. I just wanted the prize. I don't care if I'm part of the team. I get competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I was out the first day too because I didn't want to take, somebody that, I might have taken Ruben Severa, but I was hoping exactly what happened. The only difference was I was hoping I would advance.
Yes,
and I couldn't even.
Listen, we love Silvera. Nobody's talking bad about the jockeys. I'm just a bad
No, yeah, no. It's just it's a fun contest, and we'll just have fun with it.
Play again, yeah. I love it.
Actually, I've talked to Ruben on Twitter. I'm trying to get him on, so I was actually going to just message him as the joke that this is what happened. Maybe I'll talk to him to just show him how ironic it was.
That was
hopefully give him a laugh.
Yeah, that's so fun. All right. Well, I think that takes us wire to wire tonight with Horse Center, and we will be back tomorrow night, like Sean said, with TJ Acquire, and we will see you all in
the winner's circle.
Yes. Good night.